Trailblazer RV, and I'm here to take you through a new RV orientation on an Escape 181 RV. You start here at the front of the unit. This is where you will find your battery. Under this unit has an upgraded battery, so you have a 31 series RV battery. Two wires going to the battery. Red always goes to the positive and black to the negative. Important to note that this is a flooded wet cell battery, so there is some maintenance you'll need to do on it. Under this sticker there will be 6 cells that you'll need to periodically check the water levels on. If you find the water levels are getting low, and particularly if you can see the metal plates poking through, you'll need to make sure to top up those cells with distilled water. Also important to note, the battery should be removed for the winter. If it goes dead or the level gets low, it can freeze and destroy your battery. In the compartment here on the side, you'll find a couple things. First is your 30 amp power supply cord. It's going to plug in just towards the back of the unit on this side. Also, we have supplied a 15 amp park adapter if you don't have a 30 amp outlet to plug into. This adapter can plug it into a normal household type outlet. Also in here you'll find the crank for your stabilizer jacks. You just need to put the crank on and crank them down. Just remember that the jacks are for stabilizing only, not for lifting or leveling the unit. Once you've cranked them all the way down, make them just snug with the ground and then a little bit more to tighten it up. That's all they're rated for, not rated to lift or level the unit. For leveling, you'll have to use blocks blocks underneath the tires to level side to side. Next to that, you'll have your water fill stations. The top one here is your fresh tank fill. You can just stick your hose in there to fill your fresh tank. We recommend using a drinking water safe garden hose rather than the normal style garden hose, just to eliminate that hosey flavor in your water. This one is your city water connection. If you are at a site that's going to have water supplied, you can just hook your hose up to the city water connection and turn the water supply on. That way you don't need to be carrying water or using the onboard water tank. Important to remember that the water lines in the system on the RV are rated for only 45 to 50 psi of pressure, so it's important to use a water pressure regulator whenever you are hooked up to city water, just to make sure that pressure is maintained. Back here you will find your gate valves for dumping your black and gray water holding tanks. This smaller valve on the side is the gray valve, and this bigger one over here is your black. Always dump the black holding tank first by pulling this valve out. Let all of the waste from the black tank dump first, then close that valve and open your gray tank. What this will do is let the water from the gray tank flush out some of the solids and other things that are in the tube and your sewer hose when you dump the black tank, and that'll just make for a little bit easier of a cleanup process. This unit does come with a spare tire, but it's important to note that RVs never come with a jack or a tire wrench, so if you are needing to change a tire on the road, usually the jack in your truck will be sufficient, but the tire wrench that comes with it won't always fit the lug nut, so important to check the size on those. And it's not a bad idea to just pick up a star wrench to have handy. Right here is your hot water tank. This one is it's a propane water heater, but it is direct spark ignition, so there is no need to light a pilot light. Once you filled the water tank, there's a switch inside. You'll just have to turn it on. The water heater is going to light by itself. No need to do anything there. Only thing of note in here, is there is a reset button here. If that tank is ever fired without water in it, this reset will likely pop and then your water heater won't be working anymore. You can just press in on that reset and that would reset the limit that it's tripped in there. Also down here you'll notice a plug in the bottom. That is your sacrificial anode rod. You would pull that rod out to drain the tank. Now when you pull it out, you're going to notice the rod's about this long and about the width of a loonie. Over time, the impurities and minerals in the water are going to eat away at that rod rather than the inner lining of the tank, so it's going to start to look fairly corroded. Nothing to worry about there. It's doing what its job. It's just recommended that once it gets down to anywhere on that rod, you can see the inner steel core on that rod. That's when it needs to be replaced. Depending on the type of water you get into, that's anywhere from 2 to 3 years, somewhere in that range. This unit has a power awning, so it's controlled by a switch inside. This awning is adjustable. Very simple on that one. To adjust, you just pull down one arm. Often we'll recommend people adjust one side down further than the other, just to help shed rainwater and that sort of stuff, to keep your awning from sagging or damaging the fabric that way. Just important to make sure you put it back up to level before running the awning back in. This unit comes with tires that are rated or that are filled to 65 psi. Important to just double check the tire pressure on them after it's been sitting a while or before a long trip. Also, the lug nuts torque to 100 foot-pounds. Torque is another thing you should check, again, after it's been sitting a while, before a long trip, things like that. This unit is equipped with the solid step. Very simple operation on the solid step. To fold up, you just push up and click into place. I like to pull just to make sure it has locked into place. To release, there's just a yellow handle. You'll slide over and pull down. Important to make sure the door is all the way open to keep the mechanism from getting caught. Now we can go inside the Escape. All right, here inside the Escape 181, we're in the bathroom. That's where we're finding the controls for the water heater and water pump. So like I said before, the water heater is a DSI propane water heater, so you don't need to light it manually. All you have to do is turn this switch here on. When it comes on, the light on the switch is going to come on, and also this fault light. We're going to give it a couple of seconds here, and then you're going to hear it ticking, and that fault light's going to go out. When that light goes out, then you know the water heater has lit. So we'll just give it a second to do its thing here. There's the ticking, the water heater is lit, and the fault light has gone out, and the water heater is now running. Also over here is your water pump switch. Same sort of thing. There's a light on it. If the water pump is not pressured up, you'll hear it running, as you may have just there. Once the system pressures up, that pump will go off unless you are running water. Also on here you will find your monitor panel for your fresh, black, and gray tanks. As you can see right now, gray, black, and fresh tanks are all reading empty, and we are plugged in, so the battery is reading charged. Also in the bathroom of note is the GFCI outlet, the ground fault circuit interrupter. Similar to an outlet you'll have in the bathroom. The only difference is in an RV, all of the outlets are connected into this GFI. So if you're plugged in and you find that none of your outlets in the trailer are working, just come into the bathroom and check this outlet. It's got the test and reset buttons. If the outlets aren't working, just press the reset button. Your green light on the outlet should come back on, and then you should have power flowing through the outlets. Also in the bathroom, just of note, is the toilet. Always use RV approved toilet paper and holding tank chemical. After every time you dump your holding tank, put a new charge of chemical into the toilet, and then just flush it down so that a little bit of water goes into the toilet to activate that chemical. Right here we have your stove. Very simple operation on this. To light it, you just turn the burner to high, take your barbecue lighter, and light the stove. You light both burners. It's adjustable between low and high, and then just make sure the valve is pushed down and turned to all the way off before you leave it, just to make sure there's no propane flowing through the unit when your stove isn't on. Fridge, again, also simple operation, propane and electric. To turn the fridge on, you just press this button here. Comes in 3 modes. There's an automatic, there's electric, and there's propane. We recommend always leaving it in automatic. If 110 power is available, it will automatically select the electric mode and run off of the electricity rather than drawing your propane. But you can select either to run on electric without being on auto or on propane as well. But again, we're going to leave it in auto because that's usually the best option for running the fridge. That way, if you're plugged into electricity and you perhaps lose power, the fridge will automatically switch over and run on propane, so you're not going to lose any of your food in there. Also, temperature settings in here, anywhere between 1 and 5 snowflakes. We usually recommend to just leave it on 3. You may find you'll want to adjust that a little bit as it goes, just for your preference. But bear in mind, it does take a very long time for an RV fridge to cool down, so we recommend turning the fridge on at least the night before you're planning on loading the fridge, just to make sure it has time to get cold before you take off for camping. To turn the fridge off, you just push and hold the button for 3 to 5 seconds there, and the light will go off. For your furnace, again, simple operation. You just need to slide this lever on the top over to select whatever temperature you want. The fan in the furnace is going to come on and run through a purge cycle for 15 to 20 seconds before the furnace tries to ignite. When the furnace goes to ignite, you're going to hear a ticking again, similar to what the water heater was. There it is. Okay, furnace is lit, and now we can feel that there is warm air coming out of the furnace here. To shut it off, again, just slide the lever over. If you're putting the unit in storage, make sure to make sure the lever clicks over into the off position. Otherwise, in storage, the furnace could be coming on, draining your propane and your battery, that sort of thing. Down here is your propane and carbon monoxide alarm. This alarm is going to do 3 things. Number 1 is going to alert you to a potential propane problem, which likely you would be able to smell the gas as well. It will alert you to a carbon monoxide situation, which is less likely you would smell it. More, the alarm will be your only indication of that. Or the third thing this alarm will do is it will go off if the battery in the RV gets too low. When it's an alarm for either propane or carbon monoxide situation, it will be a very clear alarm. If it's more of a slow beep every 5-10 seconds, something like that, that's your indication that it's a low battery. If it is just a low battery, nothing to be concerned about. You just need to recharge the system, but something to be aware of anyway. This unit has both indoor and outdoor speakers. You can select to run inside or outside or both sets. Just something to be aware of if you are listening to music on the inside of the trailer. Make sure and have it selected inside rather than both speakers. You don't want to have your outside speakers on, disrupting your neighbors if they don't need to be. The air conditioning in this unit has basically 4 functions. It's got a low fan, a high fan, high cool, and low cool. Simple operation, just turn the knob to whichever function you require, and then you can adjust the temperature with this knob as well. If you want to cool one area of the unit more than the other, for instance at night you want to keep the bedroom closed, you can close the louvers on the air conditioner this way, so it would shut off the flow to the back of the unit and force more towards the front. Or you could do vice versa if you want to cool the kitchen area, say if you're cooking and it's getting a little too warm in there. Bed does lift up for a little extra storage. Also under here you're going to find your freshwater tank, water pump, and your freshwater tank drain. To drain the fresh tank, you just need to pull this T-handle up. That will open the tank and allow the water to drain out. Again, to close the valve, just push that back down, and that will close that off so that your fresh tank fills. Right here is the power center for your RVs. This is your converter that's going to have the fuses and breakers to control the electrical systems in the RV. In this one, you have 15 and 40 amp fuses. It's not unlikely for fuses to blow in an RV, so we recommend that you carry a few spare fuses with you. Again, in your unit, 15 and 40 amp fuses is what you need. Also, all your breakers to control your 110 electrical power side. And that pretty much concludes it for the orientation on this Escape 181. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to call us here at Trailblazer RV or check us out online at www.trailblazerrv.com.